We are live. Greetings, greetings, family. Sister Shanice in the house alongside Dr. Clyde Winters. Yeah. Oh, Dr. Clyde Winters, as always, it's a privilege. It is an honor to have you join us on the Sister Shanice show. On my last show, the audience was saying, we want Dr. Clyde, Dr. Clyde. How's Dr. Clyde? We haven't seen him for a while. And so I said I'd reach out to you. And, you know, you're just such a diamond. You really are. You have responded to the call from our audience. So welcome, welcome. Dr. Clyde. So I'm going to just copy the link here and I'm going to be posting it in the background. Dr. Clyde, so how have you been? What would you like to share with our audience?
I've been well, I've been, just thinking about a lot of things, thinking about how to try to present my work, because it's still a lot of materials that I want to present. So I've been just trying to think about how I'm going to present it, how I'm going to package it. Because I do the Thursday history gems, and so I'm just trying to think about how to package the material, package my research, so that I can make other people become more knowledgeable, because that's what it's all about. It's about sharing knowledge, and
absolutely, yes,
because so much knowledge is hidden and so much knowledge you have to pay for. Because a lot of people, they control a lot of people control the knowledge. It's like most, we can't even see all of the beautiful artifacts from Egypt and West Africa and all that, because they're in some museum somewhere, or they're at a university.
Yes.
And the universities, they don't want to let Black people in. It's mainly a white boy, white girl thing.
That's right. Because they want to hide the truth from us. They want to hide our glorious, wonderful history from us. That's why they don't want to let us in. And so that's why it's just so important to have the likes of you. Yes, Dr. Clyde, who's doing
We're knocking at the door. We're knocking at the door.
And, getting access to the material and the sources, even without their support, even without their sponsorship, even without, their cooperation, we are still, nevertheless, able to, find so much information about our glorious, glorious past. So, Dr. Clyde, you've been in the business of research for many years now. Would you like to share with the audience a bit about your research, anthropological, linguistic, and background as an author?
Okay, well, how I came into the area was, back in the day. I was reading this article online. Ivan Van Sertima's work. I looked at his work, and he was talking about the Olmecs, and I was talking about the Olmecs, and I always was fascinated about the Olmecs. Somebody said I look like an Olmec, but not really.
Yeah, I've got a picture of you looking like an Olmec, actually. We'll show the audience that one in the show. I love that. Yeah,
that's an interesting picture. That was made by one of my trolls. He's still trolling me. He's trolled me for 20 years.
Oh my
20
gosh.
years. And so he made me into the Olmec head. That was he felt that was going to denigrate me and make me look bad. It didn't make me look bad. It made me look like an Olmec.
Yeah.
And it was
well,
great.
He actually highlighted the similarities, actually. Yeah. I mean, he did a brilliant job for you. I mean, you'd have paid him to do that job. I'm sure you would have been happy, because I love it, that image. Yeah, but yeah, carry on. And a troll for 20 years?
Yes, he hated me.
Better to do?
No, he didn't. He has nothing better to do. And what happened is that he got on YouTube. Not on YouTube, but he got on what's the internet Wikipedia?
TikTok.
Yeah, he got on Wikipedia.
Oh, Wikipedia.
So when he got on Wikipedia, he made sure that if anybody tries to make a post, make a site for me, if they try to put up a Dr. Winters site on the internet, he knocks it down all the time.
Wow.
But my other ace hater, he died a few years ago. So I was happy that he's out of the way. So maybe who knows, I might outlive this one, but I don't care because
Let's hope so. Yeah.
they
We want that.
see what
Yeah.
happened is that back in the day, back when they had the talk groups, I would get into the talk groups and we'd have these arguments and I would usually win because I had artifacts, I had
Yeah.
material to kind of support what I was talking about. So a
Yeah.
lot of times this made a lot of them get upset because
Mm.
they couldn't win an argument. And so then they just decided to say, well, I hate you. I'm going to make you angry. So then they said, well, Dr. Winters, all Dr. Winters does is he just, talks a lot. So then I started publishing some of my research in anthropological journals and stuff. Oh, they had
Wow.
a fit. They had a fit. They was writing around, why are these these editors of genetic magazines and genetic articles and historical magazines, why are they publishing this man's work? You know,
Mm.
because he hated me so much, we didn't understand is that the work speaks for itself. See,
Exactly.
just because he wanted to be a troll and just because he hated the researchers out there. I mean, every time you dig in the soil, you find the head of a black person or a black, mainly black women.
Imagine.
Black women's that look like black women's skulls last a long time because
Mm.
most like Lucia, Naia, all of them, and they use the black women. So
Yeah.
y'all last in the soil a long time. Maybe because we talk a lot of bullshit. When we
Oh
die,
no. Oh
we
no.
just disintegrated a few months. You know,
Oh, that's so bad. No, not at all.
they
Mhm.
I heard they found a new they I was reading the other day they found a new skull in Mexico and they talking about this very ancient. I haven't heard
Oh,
too much about it. It's a preliminary stuff, but I know it
yeah,
has to be of a black person.
of
But they
course.
just said they found this new skull. I haven't been able to really find a lot of information on it because it's
Oh,
something
well, this
that just
is
occurred.
well,
Because
mhm. Well,
we
the
were
good thing
everywhere.
is, yeah, absolutely. And the really good thing is that, we can do some digging even via the internet and we can get into so many books, so many science journals. We can get in through the doors via the internet now. Whereas before, the only way to access a lot of that information was to be able to physically go through their doors.
Right.
And, or to have access to their journals or their magazines or their newspapers,
Yeah.
which would have probably a private or limited circulation. But now via the internet, we can also get into those science magazines,
Yeah.
journals, and find out
And a
about
lot of people
what they're
and other
finding
people have
out.
been
Yeah.
really looking in a lot of these old books, and then a
Yeah.
lot of these books written contemporary to Queen Elizabeth and some of the other people. And these
Yes.
books they're describing these people as dark skinned, black,
Exactly.
all that type of stuff. But see, what
Yes.
really confuses people is that they didn't, black people in Africa and black people in America and black people in Britain, they didn't see themselves as being unified. They saw
Yeah.
themselves as nationalities, Just like
Yeah.
the greatest philosopher of the white man, Hume, Hume. Hume was black too. But the point is, this is that he said Africa never had a history, but I mean, hell, he was just a nationalistic person. But again, in a sense, that's what I love so much about your book. Everybody, look over there. You see that book there, hidden in the shadows of ancient Britain and erased African history restored. Shanice has broken it down. She's broken it down to the T, and she's got so much even more evidence. And I'm so proud. I'm so proud of her because the fact is, this is that she's not waiting. And when you look at it, I'm gonna tell you something, young people, old people, whoever you are out there, family, is that think about the research that Shanice has done, and we don't even have the money to do the research. These other
Mhm.
people, they get grants of $500,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
They get
Yeah.
they get
Mhm.
travel grants, plus grants to write the material up, plus grants to publish the material. It can go into almost 500 to $1 million. See,
Mhm.
but all we can do is try to find the scraps. All we can do is try to find the information and present it out there to you guys. But you don't understand the wonderful thing that Shanice has done in writing the book Hidden in the Shadows. That book, that book should be in every foundational Black Britain should have that book. every Caribbean, it should have that book, especially if you're from Jamaica. You know, you should have that book, because that book, in a sense, is talking about where you came from. Because see, we're always constantly wanting. We think that we're transitory. We think we just came on the scene. We were the Irish. We were the ancient Britons. And I'm talking about, I mean, as late as what? 1746, Benjamin Franklin was saying that the Germans were black. And most of the world was black. So, but again, you know, I'm sorry to say, a lot of brothers like those white girls, and you know, they get about 20 concubines, and before you know it, you know, they kind of, in a sense, bleach. I'll just say they bleach themselves out.
Yeah, yeah, and created a new race at the same time, a race that turned around and despised us so much so they enslaved us for over 1,000 years and contributed significantly to our downfall. Yeah, because
now go ahead. You said they led to our
because we don't realize, you know, our uniqueness, our greatness, and the power of the unity of the Black man and the Black woman.
Yeah, and see, the thing is, this is that they found out, and they know this, but see, so many Black people, because the fact, in the sense, is that so many Black men, I'm ashamed of you, because you always want these exotic women, and the thing is, this is that, you know, you ruin the race. You know, you ruin the race, because after those light skin, you know, like I remember my mother and them, you know, like my mother, she was dark. On my father's side, everybody's super light skinned. You know, when you see the slave breaks, they talk about mulatto. My father was Zenobia Winters, mulatto, Zenobia Winters, and all that type of ish. You know, but then he married my mother, and then my mother, you know, put a little color in there, you know. But all of my cousins on my grandma's side, they all married super light skinned women, you know. And then my other cousins on my mother's side, just with all of them, my dad is kind of interesting. You know, they died. And that's kind of interesting. So again, in a sense, is that, you know, and so you find these people trying to hide the truth, hide the fact. Yes, I may be part Choctaw, but I'm African first. Thank you.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the thing is, this is that it's very important that people understand is that, you know, it's your African heritage, because that's where our ancestors came from. And then people say, I've seen some people over here, they talk about, I've always been a Aboriginal American. You're a damn Black. America was under ice. America was under ice. Not like Europe, not like Africa. Most of the early history of America was under ice. So how did you originate over here? You didn't grow from a tree. These people trying to take away my native ancestry. I'm Choctaw, Cherokee, mama. Yeah, they just make them all type.
Oh, no, they don't get it. That's their, you know, they can hold on to that as their nationality, you know.
But they don't want to do that.
Not have been the first people on that land. And of course, you know, as Africans, we are the indigenous people. But like you said, first and foremost, when you go to the roots is in Africa.
But a lot of us, Shanice, you can see it over there in Britain, you can see it in the Caribbean, you can see it in America. Many of us are still ashamed of our African heritage. Many of us, and especially over in America, because they some people, I don't feel ashamed that my ancestors were slaves. I'm very proud. I mean, we're the only slaves in history that nowadays you got millionaire niggas and stuff. Well,
we're
millionaire.
The survivors. We are the survivors, aren't we?
Right. Billionaires.
Enslaved. The survivors of those enslaved, you know, and you know, let's remember as well, that our enslavement was just a fraction of our history. Our history goes back hundreds of thousands of years. And so, what they want to do is to focus our entire existence, you know, on that moment in our history where we were enslaved, as if that's all we ever were. But, you know, wonderful thing about researching our history is that we uncover, isn't it, all of this magnificent, monumental history, you know, of us as Africans being the originators, the creators, the inventors, you know, of so much, the creators and inventors of civilization. And we brought our civilization to all the continents around the world. I mean, it's definitely a history to be proud of. But as you say, Dr. Clyde, they present us in such a way, such a negative, stereotypical, awful way that so many of us are just ashamed, you know,
Well, see,
of who they are, especially if they don't know
yeah,
of their
because see,
greatness.
and you'll be surprised that because of the fact, and some people they want to really worship white people. Excuse me, and because they want to worship white people, they really prefer to think that we don't have a history.
Yeah.
And they like to believe we don't have a history because then that can make them feel that they're justified and wanted to be associated with whites or near whites or really play up to whites. I mean, I have nothing against white women, but I mean I think black women look beautiful to me, and that's just the way it is.
Big up, big up. That's a black woman to a black man.
It's the truth.
It looks like an Olmec as well. Dr. Clyde, let's see who we've got in the house watching
Okay.
us so far. So we've got Kwame Aboje in the house. Rise up, brother Kwame Aboje. He's saying Tendai Mari to us both. Rise up, rise up. Great to have you in the house. We've got Sister Kev in the house. Miss Kev in the house. And you'll know her from your channel. She says, two of my favorite researcher and teachers. Rise up, Sister Karen. Great to have you in the house. We got Debuffel in the house as well, saying hello and great day, my sister and folks. Rise up, Debuff. It's great to have you in the house as well. Brother Kwame is saying that these museums are thieves and we want our cultural stuff back. Absolutely agree with you on that, Brother Kwame. Sister Betty's in the house, rising us both up. She's saying, Hotep, Baba Winters, and Sister Shanice, an African family. Great to have you in the house, Sister Betty. As always, wonderful, wonderful to have you join us. Sis Kev is saying, what a wonderful surprise to have Dr. Winters here. So she said, Dr. Clyde Winters, what a wonderful surprise. Yes, you were calling for him. Last Strong family, and I said I'd make the call, and I did. And our wonderful, wonderful doctor said, he's going to come not just today, but also next Strong as well. So we are in for a treat. Yes, Debuff, good point. He says the work speaks for itself. They couldn't hide it. That's right. That's right. So come on, family. If you're in the house, drop a message in the chat. It'd be good to hear from you. We've got Sister Audrey in the house. Rise up, rise up. We got Jaris in the house. Black women are the most beautiful, period. She says, high five, Jaris. Love that. We got Hford in the house saying hello, or Jarisford. Wonderful. Their problem is that Baba Clyde always brings receipts and he's raw. That's their problem, not ours. Absolutely agree. Yes, Brother Kwame, we aren't slaves. We are men and women of the world. That's right. They enslaved some of us, but we certainly weren't slaves. Yes, we were African warriors first of all. Always African first, says Jared. So, the family is loving the conversation. Benjamin Franklin, a slave oppressor. So welcome to everybody's in the house. And please do continue to drop your messages. We definitely will be giving you a big up, every time. So as you can see, we've got our beloved Dr. Clyde Winters in the house. And it's phenomenal to have you here, Doctor. And we've been on a journey. I don't know if you've had time to see some of the previous episodes, Dr. Clyde, but we have been on a journey following in the footsteps of our ancestors as they migrated out of Africa and traveled around the world. And in our last session, we were in Asia and we were looking at our ancestors in Vietnam, Cambodia, Afghanistan, Yeah, we've been doing a wonderful, wonderful journey with our ancestors, and we've been looking at the huge monuments that they have left behind everywhere that they went. And so while we were in Vietnam, we were looking at these huge Buddhas with the African features. We were looking at the engravings in the caves, and we were in India. We were looking at the carvings, very not too dissimilar to what you see in Egypt, in the caves in India as well. We have been on a journey, Dr. Clyde, examining the powerful evidence that our ancestors have left behind. And it just makes you feel so proud to know that they had the technology and the science and the ingenuity, to create these monuments. And then, we begin to think about the culture and the spirituality that must have gone with all of those monuments and the civilization that existed at the time, the trade. I mean, we haven't even gone into that side as deep as we've been, but what we've been doing is we've been uncovering and exposing these monuments, and we've been looking at them face to face, and it's like looking face to face with our ancestors. And so those of you who have been following these episodes, I certainly hope that you've been enjoying them, because today we're going to be crossing over now from Asia to the Americas. And I'm delighted. We've got our special guest here, Dr. Clyde Winters, who's famous for deciphering the Olmec writing system. Big up, big up, big up. I was saying, I don't think you get enough kudos for that, Dr. Clyde, because, wow, I mean, there's not many people in the world who would be able to do that, decipher the Olmec writing system. And this is exactly what Dr. Clyde has been able to do. And you know what, Dr. Clyde, are you ready? Would you like to?
If you can share the screen with me. Let me share the
Yes,
screen.
yes. Dr. Clyde's going to do a brief presentation for us, family. Then we're going to come back. We're going to have some conversations, and I've got some slides. If we've got time, I might do a few of those as well. So yeah, just go to share screen, Dr. Clyde, and take it over. Okay, there we go.
Can you see it?
Yes, yes, indeed. You see your research left out of textbooks.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that you have to really remember is so much has been left out of the research, has been left out of the textbooks, because they don't want you to know, because see, they like to talk about things like flying saucers or a Bigfoot, things that in a way that they hope that they can use to manifest to us some sort of a weirdness, because see, they don't really want to deal with the real secret information. And the real secret information is about Black people. There's so many Black history researchers left out of textbooks, and there's so much Black history that's been left out of textbooks, especially the Olmecs. The Olmecs, here you can see some examples. The Olmecs are a very unique people. When you look at the Olmecs, here you can see you can see some of the Olmec people. And I think the most interesting thing about the Olmecs is that the Olmecs, they were educators, but they also spent a lot of time thinking about the children and thinking about the future. That's why when you look at the top photograph, and the top photograph from the left, you see some of the Olmecs, and you see them with children, because see, they felt it was very important in a sense to pass on their history to their children. And this is one of the things that I love about the work of Shanice and others, is that they're trying to make sure that our children learn about our great ancestry. Our children learn about the greatness that who we were. And these big heads, yes, these giant heads weighing thousands and thousands of pounds is evidence of this great civilization. But the thing that many people understand is that these people, in a sense, came from Africa. This doesn't mean, don't get it twisted. There were Black people over here already. These Black people, in a sense, had a very exciting culture, and most of the pre-classic artifacts are of these Black Mexicans. But it was the Olmecs, the Mandingo people, that brought to Mexico a civilization that had writing, a civilization that had a very unique, in a sense, way of doing things. You know, look if you look down on the second on the bottom, you can see a picture. You can see a picture of me, and you can see the a shell from Levinta, and this shell from and this glyph from Levinta. It talks about, you know, their worship. It talks about their history. It talks about their culture. And this is something that is very important to understand. Is that when the Olmecs came here, they came here in a sense to make sure that you and I would know what they left. They also, in a sense, they left beautiful monuments, like if you notice in the center of the second picture from the left on the bottom line, you can see some of the Olmecs. Here's one of the Olmec religious leaders, and he's around these Celts, and these Celts have a message for us, a message that tells us about their culture. Then if you look at the other picture, the picture to the far right, you can see the Telem cliff dwellings, and he's telling cliff dwellings. These are found in West Africa. Yes, but isn't it amazing that in Arizona we find the same cliff dwellings, we find the same buildings, and this is to tell the uniqueness. See, some people are really mixed up today. There's a lot of people today, I'm sad to say, who are in a sense native nationalists, and I call them native nationalists because they want to pretend in a sense that they're Native Americans, and since they're the original Indians, they don't want to have any association with Africa. That is so stupid, because Africa is where our ancestors came from. America was under ice for North America. America was under ice for over 25,000 years. Mm-hmm. That means, in a sense, that there were no Neanderthals. There were no pre-men in America, because if they were lost under the ice. So the only place that people could have came from to really settle America had to be from Africa. But sadly, many of my brothers and sisters over here, they don't want to, in a sense, admit that we do have this African ancestry, and that is where our culture originated. You know, I myself, I'm a linguist, historian, and educator. I'm known for controversial work on deciphering ancient scripts, the Indus Valley writing Olmec melodic. Because, see, what makes me controversial is because the fact is that I champion the fact that we do have an ancient history. You know, so many Black people, they feel so safe in believing that our only historical experience was an experience as slaves. And if we had this experience as a slave, that makes them feel very secure, because they really want to believe that the white man is the master race. They really want to believe, in a sense, is that by looking up to white people, that they too, in a sense, can have a place in these United States. But the point is this, is that I'm sorry to tell them, sorry, the European was not here first. The European history, the European culture is based on our history and culture. You know, this is right here. This is a bilingual text. On the right-hand side, we had a bilingual text. And this is, a lot of people said, Dr. Winters, you're always talking about you can read the Maya and the Olmec languages. How in the hell can you read the Maya and Olmec language? The white man haven't said he can read it. So how did you, in a sense, do something that the white man couldn't do? The reason I could do something that the white man was unable to do is that I looked at our history. I looked at our writing. I looked at the fact, in a sense, that we do have a shared culture. We do, in a sense, had languages that were kind of shared. And this particular, if you look at the picture on the right-hand side, on the picture on the right-hand side, you see that on the left side of the picture, you can see, in a sense, Mayan glyphs. And that was very interesting, because this is a Maya glyph, you see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then when you look at the right-hand side, you can see where it's broke down into the Mandingo or syllabic words, syllabic language. See, and so when I found this particular when I found this particular rock, when they discovered this allowed me to really, in a sense, say, damn, the ancient Mexican people were Mandingo people, and they wrote in the ancient Manding script, you see. And this bilingual text allowed me to be able to get into the intricacies, to learn what our ancestors were trying to tell us. Because see, what you have to understand, family, is that they tell you that Black people have never been illiterate people. They tell you, in a sense, that Black people only spend their time, trying to just be a civilization, a culture that only deals, in a sense, with only deals with only deals, in a sense, with things that relate to stuff that has no real relevance to us. See, and this is kind of sad. And it's sad because the fact, in a sense, is that there's so much knowledge out there for us to see, but we make a mistake and we refuse to see it because we're too busy, in a sense, waiting for somebody to tell us what's out there, tell us what we should do, and tell us who we are. But again, this bilingual text here that they left at Calmalco, is a city called Calmalco, Mexico. This bilingual text is what allowed me, in a sense, to be able to read the Mayan and Olmec language, because on the one hand side we see the glyphs on the left, and then on the right we see them broken into their syllabic characters.
Wow.
Textbooks, boards, and curriculum designers often sideline Afrocentric scholarship. Cold War, McCarthyism, academic respectability suppressed radical independent Black scholarship. It was only after 2020, amid social justice movements, that more inclusive curricula began to emerge. Yes, they wanted to avoid a real understanding of the curriculum because they didn't want us to really know the truth. They didn't really want us to see where things were going. Because see, they recognized that if you knew the reality of history, if you knew where you came from, then you would not be afraid. See? Yes. You know, it is sad that so many people are afraid to know who and what they are, you know. One of the greatest contributors to history was Carter G. Woodson. Educators, parents, and communities must advocate for broad historical inclusion. They have to support independent Black scholars and publish outside traditional channels. They have to encourage critical inquiry and historical recovery. You know, because what did Carter G. Woodson say? When you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. Right. Isn't that true? If you control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his actions. And the reason you don't have to worry about his actions is because of the fact, in a sense, is that man, he's not going to stand up for nothing. He's not going to be about nothing. Because see, to be about something, you have to really want to tell the truth. You have to really want to, in a sense, know that there's more to life, you see. And they don't want to do that, you know. You know, I've written a lot of books on ancient America, and these books can give you insight into our history. You know, Atlantis in Mexico, it tells about the Olmecs. African empires in ancient America, it tells about all of the African empires, yes. In my book, African Empires in Ancient America, I'm not just talking about, individual, Black people who were among the Olmecs or among the Aztecs. I'm talking about the actual empires. That means states. That means kilometers of land under the control of these people that Black people formed in these over in these United States and South America. In my book, we're not just Africans. I talk about, in a sense, the relationship between foundational Black Americans and Aboriginal Blacks. In my book, The Ancient Scripts of South America, I show, in a sense, how the ancient writing in South America is related to the is related to the various Sumerian scripts and other ancient writing systems. Because see, the writing systems in the Americas, they came from Africa. Yes, yes. Get my book, The Mandan Ancient America, because it was so many Mandingo societies over here. You know, I was surprised in a sense that when I found out that the Aztecs, they even called themselves Mandingos. Go figure.
Mm.
Yes, yes, they called themselves Mandingo. And I thought that was kind of deep to me. Because you know, they were able in a sense to recognize that their identity, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I've especially been interested in the Olmec writing. And the Olmecs, they've left a beautiful writing on masks, as you can see on the left hand side. Then in the middle we see some of the celts, and they also have a very interesting statuette, which we see at the bottom of the right hand side. This is called the Tushla statuette, and this statuette, in a sense, what it does is that it tells you, you know, about how the Olmecs lived and some of their civilization and some of their culture.
Oops, the slide's not moving along there. Oh,
Okay,
there we go.
this is here we can see in a sense another Mayan slide. We can see here we have the Olmec figure on the far left hand side. In the middle, we can see the bilingual text. Yes, it's this bilingual text in the middle that allows me to be able to read the ancient Olmec and Mayan writing, because the fact in the sense is that they left us this information. They wanted us to know, and see, this is what a lot of people understand, is that our ancestors wanted us to know who we were. They wanted us to know where we came from. They wanted us, in a sense, to be able to talk about our existence in this place. You see, but many people don't understand that, because many people they continually feel in the sense is that somehow, you know, we shouldn't know this. Somehow we should be forgetting who we are. Somehow we should move away from our realities and move down a street that is nothing in a sense but cumbersome. The Olmec writing agrees with what I call the Lipico Berber writing. And the Lipico Berber writing, this is what they call the writing in the inscriptions in ancient Africa. And this writing goes back It goes back over 4,000 years. So you can see that even before the Olmecs came over here, they already had their own writing, because the Olmec, what we call a Mandi or Mandingo language. Here we can see. Let's look at some of the symbols from the Lipico Berber script. That's what they call the ancient writing, the script in ancient Africa. The Bai writing, the Tushla statuette. It's I showed you. That's the thing that looks like a duck. Then the Levanta celts, you see, and then we see inscriptions from Mazapa. And as we go across from the Berger writing to the Bai, to the Tushla, the Levanta, and the Zappa, as you can see, they share these signs. See, this is what allowed me and can allow you to understand the history of our people. When you understand the sense that our people was leaving us messages, that our people, in a sense, were not separated. They were not separated. When you understand, in a sense, that our people, in a sense, they had a shared history. They weren't ignorant about other people, you see. They had their own writing system. The European teaches you that Black people always like to do is talk. We like to be oral. But as you can see, in a sense, it's not that we just like to be oral. You know, we can carry it both ways. You know, I mean, hey, that's the way it is. We can write, we can talk it. You know, we can live it. But that's just the way it is. You know, and a lot of people, in a sense, they just can't understand it. You know, they can't understand our uniqueness. They can't understand our ability to really create new and diverse things. To read the Olmec writing, you transliterate each sign in conformity with the by writing. Once you have the phonemic value of each Olmec sign pursuant to the by writing, you read the transliterated Olmec signs in Malinke Bambara. Malinke Bambara is a member of the Mandi superfamily of languages. Mm-hmm. Here you can see some of the various Mandi signs. The Europeans, a lot of times Black people for some reason we just like to tell Europeans everything. So these people in a sense, these are some of the Mandi signs. And it's these Mandi signs that allow me to be able to read Olmec writing and some of the ancient tablets that our ancestors left in North Africa. Our ancestors, they didn't use an alphabetic script. They used a syllabic script. Again, here's the bilingual Mayan Mandi inscription. And as you can see, the various glyphs, and then you can see how the glyphs, when you really break them down, that they're really made up of syllabic signs. The Olmec and Epi-Olmec dignitaries usually left inscriptions in their tombs. The so-called pre-classic pyramids of Mexico, they were built in Epi-Olmec times. You find many of these inscriptions. At Cascajal, a tablet was found which is directly related to one of the Olmec heads. This is the Cajal inscription. You can see the stone tablet, and on the right-hand side, you can see some of the inscriptions that are on this tablet. This tablet is very interesting because the Cascajal tablet is an obituary of a King Bepo. And we know that it's the obituary of a King Bepo because we find, in a sense, that many of the symbols that his name is formed by is also found on the Olmec head. The Olmec head from La Venta head. So we see the same signs. That allows us to see the continuity. The people who found this particular tablet mentioned the fact that they found it in a mound. And because they found it in a mound, that shows in a sense that the people in a sense were building these mounds and stuff where they could, have control over things and stuff. And it's these mounds that allowed them to be able to put their artifacts, leave their messages to mankind. Because see, they were not trying. This is something I want you to understand. They were not trying, in a sense, to hide anything from us. They want us to know about our history. They want us to know about the great things that we did because, hell, they were proud of it. Here we can see, in a sense, that many of the pyramids that were made during the Epi-Olmec and Olmec period, you can see what's called the Jaguar facade. And this is where you can see, if you look on this picture, you can see how they have the mixed serpent, the jaguar serpent motif on these various, pyramids to show, in a sense, the conformity or the unity within these cultures. And these facades, they're very interesting. And it also, again, points to this continuity. This is something that you had to remember, is that our ancestors were not trying to hide anything from us. They was trying to tell us a story. But they were waiting until we could find the information that they were leaving us to be able to recognize the story they was trying to tell us. Monument 3 is 1.78 meters high. The headband is made up of 4 parallel ropes encircling the head. In the parallel ropes, there's serrated figures cross the ropes diagonally. A plaited diadem on 4 braids on the back of the figure covered with serrated elements And the name for this particular fellow is B. Popo. The text of the Cascade Hall tablet, which was found outside San Lorenzo, is also about B. Popo. This is the San Bartolo pyramid. This is kind of a reconstruction of how they believe the San Bartolo pyramid probably looked when it was originally built. Here's some of the Olmec tomb scenes from San Bartolo. I mean, if you look over here, there's a small figure. You can see this figure on the left-hand side. You can see it kind of looks like an Olmec. Then you can see some of the other pictures that came from this particular tomb. And this is the figurine from San Bartolo and some of the various other sites from San Bartolo. What I like about the inscription from San Bartolo is that they left us, in a sense, many symbols that you can read and know what these people are doing. For example, if we go all the way to the far right, we can read, the symbols in front of this particular person is carrying this information is La Taliku, Vetafe. This artisan, Tali, the governor, desires to be made sacred and breathing. Then we see in front of this other fellow, the person that's second from the right, we find in a sense Tagibe Ku Fa, which means preserve the mystic order. The governor and the mystic order are one. So again, in a sense, we can see that many of the religious leaders among the Olmec had both, in a sense, a religious authority and also a secular authority. I mean, in a sense that they not only were recognized as the kings or the leaders of the people, they were also recognized, in a sense, as the head of the association, as the head of their, what we would maybe call, not a church, but the head of their religious group or their religious order. This is King Tali. He is a dignitary buried in the San Bartolo pyramid. You can see, if you look, you can see his picture if you look really carefully. He's on the left-hand side at the top. See, he kind of has a little beard. See his head. You can see some of the various figures. But this is King Tali. And he's the figure on the left-hand side. This is a real Azul temple. They left a lot of beautiful inscriptions at Real Azul. This is the tomb inside the Real Azul temple. You can see some of these inscriptions, You can see over here we can see this personage over there, right? We see where the archaeologist is. You can see that person behind him. You can see many other various symbols. But again, in the sense is that we look at these and offhand, if you just came and say, oh, those are beautiful symbols. Oh, wow, look at those various ovals and various lines. But these were not just ovals. They were not just lines. This was their writing. It was in these various symbols that tell you the history of the elites that were buried at Real Azul and other sites in Mexico. Here's another one saying, here's an inscription. See the person on the other side. Again, this tells you the story of this personage. The person is on the far right. Then we see the other stela in the middle. Then we see other inscriptions on the far left. Again, this is the Slavic writing. This is the various inscription that is found at this particular site that's related to this king. And you can break it down, and we can read the signs too. For example, when you break them in their various parts, for example, you can see Ba, Bala, Bala Fe, and Day too. That reads, down infinitely to the various things. At the bottom, you can see we see Akupu, which means The partridge is in peace. Again, in a sense, we find, in a sense, the name of this particular fellow. And this shows you how I read the inscriptions. As you can see, let's look at the top. You can see where I have two, pe, ba, ki, and ku, which reads Kibota Tuku, which means Ki's ghost is a sacred object. This abode is its possession. So this person is right here. His name is Ki. This king of Rio Azul is named Ki. And this inscription, what makes it so interesting is that it explains that Ki was a sacred figure. The first colossal head found by Dr. Stern is called El Reyes. This head is 2.85 meters high. At the back of the headdress, there's a stylized knot. At the back of the headdress, this is a head one from, this is called El Reyes. The insignia is a flaring cell with a large dot in the center. These symbol represents graphemes from the Olmec writing system. They suggest that the name for El Rey was Kieta. The symbols on the back of the head read Poda. In San Lorenzo Monument 2, the head is badly mutilated. The headgear is tied at the back like that of Keita. The insignia of this king is 3 Macaos. The back is crisscrossed with a raised interior bands that form the X or Gibe sign. His name was probably 3 Macao faces, or Gibe Solo Saba. Monument 3, the headband is made up of 4 parallel ropes encircling the head. The parallel ropes, there's a serrated figure across the top of the ropes, diagonally. The plaited diadem or 4 braids on the back of the figure covered with the serrated element means that his name was probably B. Popo. So this particular head from San Lorenzo 3 is B. Popo. Monument 4, headgear similar to number 3. Down the left side of the helmet, there are 3 bow tie-like knots on 1 and 2. There's a pendant-shaped figure over the right brow made up of 3 boxes joined together with tassels extending from the boxes. The pendant equal po, 2, or pure one, obedient to the law. In other words, in a sense, so this is just to symbolize that he was the pure one. He was obedient to the law. This crown is composed of interwoven arrangement of groups of 3 or 2 dots with open circles within circles. The insignia is made up of 2 flattened jaguar paws. This equals ta-ta-tu, or 2 jaguar paw. One who is a supporter of the mystic order, obedient to the law. So ta-ta-tu means he was the supporter of the mystic order, obedient to the law. San Lorenzo 6 has a woven pattern across the top of the helmet composed of triangles and circles within circles. On the headband, we find an Ingibe sign, partially mutilated. The woven pattern can be interpreted as Potata. His name, according to the headband, was probably Ingibe, Potata. Olmec also has 7, the crown's woven pattern insignia, and this king's name was Pobi, or one pure and humble, or the pure royal. It was just interesting how they put the Olmecs put their names across the heads of these figures. You know, one day I'd really like to go to Mexico and look at these figures because, you know, I've only been able to see the pictures and photographs. I believe that if I could really get to see these colossal heads up close, I might could even find other inscriptions that tell us even more details about these particular, Olmec kings, But again, I haven't went to Mexico yet. Plus, they keep a lot of stuff on so that only the quote unquote white experts can see. Colossal head 8 is 2.2 meters high, is a compound crown. The insignia on the head shaped like two fingers, with a line separating the fingers that flares out in a V shape inside an oblong box. The name of this particular king was probably Pobafe, or the pure vigorous wind. Head number 9, the headdress has parallel lines moving from top to bottom. The insignia in the middle of the headband appears to be a claw. So his name was probably 2 Jaguar Powell, Powell 1. Jaguar Powell 1. Head 10, the helmet is covered with discs and circled dots inside each disc. Jaguar Power in the center of the helmet. His name was probably Tata Jaguar Power, who would read the name as Jaguar Power 1, the supporter of the mystic order and obedient to the law. The Rancho Cabada head is from Cerro El Vigia, Veracruz. The headdress lacks an insignia and has a smooth horizontal band. From the available funds this monument, I cannot detect a name for this ruler. Monument Leventa 4, his name was Limbe, one who erects existence. Or it could either mean his name Pogabay could be one who erects existence, or the foundation of existence. Now this one, I wonder if this one is older than the rest. Maybe not. Monument of Tres Zapates, the helmet has a plain style. It was the first head discovered in Mexico. In reading the inscription on the top of this figure, we discovered that Boo was a member of the stonemasons caste, who later became the governor of Veracruz. Yes, see right here, if you look at this on the right-hand side, you can see his head, and again you can see where his name is written. I found that very interesting. Is how they put their names on the heads. Recently, a mask of Poingabe was recently discovered and published. The mask of Poingabe has an inscription written on the inside of the mask. This is the mask of Poingabe, and you can see some of the various Olmec signs along the mask. The sacred calendar of the Olmecs is also existing around that time. The sacred calendar has 13 months of 20 days. 13 times 20 equals 260. John Montgomery in How to Read Maya Hieroglyphs wrote that the Tzolk'in, or 260-day sacred almanac, was widely used in ancient times for divinatory purposes. Guatemalan Maya and other cultures in Mexico still use it as a means of day keeping. The origin of the 260-day calendar are debatable, although a number of scholars have suggested it corresponds to the 9-month period of human gestation. Vienna has also shown that the Maya probably had a calendar with 13 months or 20 days, as evident from the Calabash zodiacs. Many calendrics are the result of a combination of climatic and social and astronomical factors. The moon, seasons, and stars are used for reckoning time. The major stars studied by the Mandi was Ceres. What is the legacy of the Olmecs? The legacy of the Olmecs is quite interesting. One, the archaeological evidence supports an African origin of the Olmecs. We see the physical features of the Olmec heads, which clearly show that they were Negroid or Black or African in type. We also see that they have African writing, and today we even have African genetic evidence that all proves in the sense that the Olmecs weren't a people who carried, African genetic material. But see, the one thing you got to understand is that that it should be no surprise that the Olmecs carried African genetic material because Afro-Americans carry African genetic material because we all came from Africa. Black people came from Africa, so we carry many of those same genes. So that's no mystery. No, it's no mystery at all. Okay, you can go to my Patreon to see the slides. My Twitter account is at Clyde Winters 8. And also go to YouTube and look at some of my videos. But again, this is some of the research that's been left out of the textbooks. And this research was deliberately left out so that they did not have to say that Black people have a history. It was left out so they wouldn't have to say that Black people had anything that was worth knowing. But as you can see, we do have a great history, you see. Congrats. Yes. Congrats. Why is it congrats, family? I'll tell you why it's congrats. It's congrats because the fact is that now you know. So they can't lie to you. But again, in a sense, I really appreciate that Sister Shanice allowed me to come and talk about. But see, this is just one Black civilization. You know, this was just one. It was also other Black civilizations in South America. But the point is that what makes Sister Shanice so important? Yes, she's a very important researcher, a very important scholar. Don't ever let nobody say that Sister Shanice is not a scholar. She is a scholar, you see? And she's my oracle. But you can have as a scholar. I'll have as a scholar and oracle. Yes. She always tells me things that gets me all riled up and helps me to find out more. But again, in a sense, this is some of the Olmec history. Have you guys had any questions? Put in the I guess put in the chat or whatever, and I'll answer them if I can. Or I don't know, it's up to Shanice. What do you want to do?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you so much, Dr. Clyde, for that presentation. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you have a really unique ability, I must say, to be able to decipher and read the Olmec writing, and to have been able to decipher the names of so many of those Olmec heads as well. I mean, it must have been a painstaking, years of actually being able to identify all those little symbols. I mean, I was looking at what you call the picture glyphs, and on one side, and then there was like, another writing on the other side, and I just wouldn't have been able to make that connection and work it out. But you could see so much into that, which is why I said you've got a really unique ability to be able to decipher, because I'd imagine a project like that where you're analyzing every stroke, every cross, every symbol. I mean, it must have been painstakingly, hard and lengthy work to do that. Tell us a little bit about that, what that process involved.
The process was this, is that what I learned early in my research is that, for a long time, the European has always tried to separate Africans from the Sumerians. They said that the Sumerians were supposed to be whites, something like that. And the Africans, they didn't have a history. The Egyptians may have had a history, but Africans didn't have a history. What I found is that during my research, I was a linguist. I was a linguist mainly by training. And as I started to look at these languages, I started seeing that the Mandi language, the Sumerian language, and Mandi, Sumerian, and Dravidian languages spoken in South India were cognate. I found many cognate terms. I found many terms that appeared in all three of those languages that had the same meaning. When I found that many of these words in these three languages had the same meaning, then that made me say, aha, the Olmecs, the Minoans, the Sumerians, the ancient Livico-Bourbons, they all had the same writing system. Yeah. But I said, aha, even though they have the same writing system, what if they wrote the inscriptions for their writing system in their language? So then that meant I had to read Sumerian texts in Sumerian.
Wow.
I had to read West African text in Mandi, you see.
Yeah.
I had to read Indus Valley text in Tamil, see. Yeah, it took a little while to learn some of those languages, but I always like comparative linguistics. I love comparative linguistics. I wrote a book on comparative linguistics, family, if you're interested. But I love comparative linguistics because, see, back in the day, now not so much, but back in the day when they talked about linguistics, they talked about that whenever you found people who spoke the same languages, it has to show a genetic relationship.
Mm.
And that's why the language spoken by these people is called the mother language. It's called the mother language because they all had the same mother. And not a mother plural, but the same mother. And the thing is this is that when you start to look at the symbols, then you begin to see, in a sense, the uniqueness, but uniformity and continuity of Black civilizations, you see? And so then we get all mixed up because the fact is that the Europeans say, well, those men, you might stop it. Those not the same Blacks there that were there, or those not the same Blacks there that were there. But see, my study showed similar vocabulary, identical vocabulary, identical signs. And that showed to me in a sense that they did have a family relationship. And it showed me in a sense that we could find out more about these civilizations by looking into the information, looking into the various symbols and reading these symbols in a sense. Because see, our ancestors wanted to tell us a story.
Yes.
Our ancestors did not want to remain, unknown, but they were waiting for us to pick up on the information that they were leaving us. And see, the European, a lot of times, he can't read stuff, he can't see stuff because his mind does not want to fathom that we have such a great history, a great civilization. But just to make sure that you don't know, they'll have it so you have to be you have to be at the University of Indiana or Columbia, excuse me, or Cambridge to be able to go to the archaeological sites. They have thousands of inscriptions that they've got cataloged and in their anthropology departments that no Black people are belong to. See, and so see, because the fact in a sense is that most Black people cannot be archaeologists. That was the one thing I hated. I hated when I discovered, in a sense, is that to really be a student of archaeology and to take the classes, your family had to have money. And your family had to have money so they can, in a sense, provide you with the money to be able to visit those sites. Yeah, they get grants down the road, but a lot of those people come on their own. See, they come on their own, but see, like me just being an average brother, with a working class foundational Black American family. My father did construction. My mother was a housewife. But luckily, in a sense, they allowed us to go to college because they didn't want us to burn this mother down. So they recruited us and brought us to college. But I didn't just go to college just as a front. I went to college to learn. I went to college to be what I thought was an intellectual. And I thought being an intellectual was mimicking how Europeans work together to find solutions and facts. I didn't know, in a sense, that set me apart from other Black researchers over here, because other Black researchers over here, they just wanted to pretend they had the FARC, and they just wanted to pretend that they could talk, they could talk various different things and just pretend. See, but I don't mind. I've been to conferences where I was the only Black person there, and they wouldn't even give me credit for being Afro-American. They always said I was African. Look at this clean complexion. He can't be from, because they had generalized that Afro-Americans know nothing, that all Afro-Americans are dumb. So when I would be at these conferences, I would be the only brother and I would be the one presenting. Oh, look at that African over there. But hey, I wasn't African from Africa. I was an African American. And the thing is, that's why it's so terrible. And see, that's what makes the research of Shanice so terrifying to white folks. Here's a sister, Caribbean bred, strong sister. She's not a kiss ass sister, strong. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Strong. And they see her and they see what she's doing, and it's frightening to them, because see, most of the sisters, they bow by giving them little trinkets, giving little pretty little things, little jewels and stuff. but they couldn't buy off. They couldn't buy off Shanice. Shanice, you can't buy her off. Now she'll take it now if you want to give it to me, and I'll take it. But you're not going to buy her off.
That's right.
Any
That's
questions in
right.
the?
Thank you. Oh, yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. Wow, your linguistic skills and abilities there. Let's quickly jump over to the chat. Rise up, rise up. See, yeah, H4 is saying we can't know where we came from, and we are not afraid. I think that was in relation to the earlier part of the conversation when we was talking about fear, and you were saying that there are a lot of our people who are too fearful to want to know of their huge form of greatness, because maybe that will just put too much responsibility they may feel on their shoulders today. It's easy to pretend that they're nothing, never been anything, so never will be, so they can just hang around and be a bum. Yeah.
And they can go chase a white woman, and they can let that white woman, they can get some white thighs, and that can make them feel that they're
get out of here. Lighten their offsprings who turn around and hate the darker side of them.
Yeah, remember. Excuse me for a minute. Remember the so-called armies of Europe that conquered Africa and the Middle East. These were armies made up of mulattoes, their children. These are armies made up of their children. It wasn't a bunch of white people all the time going here and going there. A lot of them was mixed breeds. A lot of them was half and half, because a lot of those British troops, they couldn't have. How was they going to be fighting with malaria and all that stuff around? No, it was their mulatto children that allowed the white man to take over the world.
For real. H. Ford Rise Up says our young kids, well, we call them children, not little baby goats, but Rise Up, beloved, says our young children today go to school and don't learn who they are, where they are from. So how do we change that? I mean, back in my days, obviously, it was the Saturday school. And back in the days, we knew the importance of Saturday schools. We knew the importance of bringing our children to a cultural environment at the weekend or the strong end, so that, within that cultural environment, they could, deconstruct what they had been programmed at school during that week, that strong. But now, that breaking down isn't happening in the community setting. Is it happening at home? Is it happening enough? Are there enough parents at the moment right now to know how to go about, deconstructing the colonial minds that they've put in our heads? So rise up, H. Ford, for that. Kwame saying we must inspire our young people who are who they are, and that's African. So we've got to inspire them. Hopefully, these sorts of presentations about the great Olmec heads, will inspire some of our young people.
We got to share it. We have to share it.
Yeah,
we have to share it, Shanice. We have to share it with our children. We have to share it with other Black people. I mean, when you get a good video, you should maybe want to send a note or a note to somebody. Hey, John. Hey, Mary. Here's a cool video. Check it out. Share it with your children. That one, in a sense, we could build up the self-esteem, because to really be able to fight Europeans, you have to have the self-esteem to feel you're just as good as them. And see, that's the thing that when I read about a lot of the Black people in the South, growing up in Chicago, I did not think like them. I thought I could kick ass. The other day I was saying, Clyde, what if you would have been down there? Do you think you would have been as militant? I don't know. But growing up in Chicago, growing up north, we felt that we were just as good as white folks. We felt we could do what they do. And in fact, we felt we were better than them. Whereas we felt that people down with Martin Luther King and all that, they looked up to white folks. We didn't look up to white folks. We felt in the sense that we were the founders. We made this country. And it's just funny. And then people say, well, how did you do that, nigga? How did you do that, Clyde? That's because they used to teach us in the churches. There's the teachers in the Black church that our ancestors were the Egyptians. If our ancestors were the Egyptians, that's what made us grow up always feeling that we were better than them. Look at that great civilization. But somewhere along the line, we lost it. Somewhere along the line, we lost our civilization. Somewhere along the line, we lost our history. Somewhere along the line, we allow people to steal our history and hide it from us.
Such a shame. Yeah, and that led to our downfall. Yes, indeed. Yeah, but I agree with you, Kwame Boje. He says, a shame. It's so amazing. Yeah, I think they're referring to the photos. Yes, Miss Kev, Sister Karen says, the photos and pictures are so beautiful. And Deboff says, I'm surprised to hear that a lot of Americans don't believe we are African descent. Growing up, I thought that most Blacks knew this because of how my mum instilled it in us. And there again, you know, proof of the importance of parenting and the role of parents to instill the correct knowledge into the children.
See, a lot of people, you'll find that a lot of the so-called Aboriginal brothers and sisters, they're so ashamed. They're so ashamed of slavery that they want to claim that they have no relationship to Africans. So they ancestors, some of the first damn slaves in America were Black Indians, dummy. But they don't know this. And so then they want to, in a sense, run away. And I wanted to believe so badly that we didn't really feel this way, but there's still a lot of Black people, Shanice. There's still a lot of Black people, family, who are ashamed of being Black. They're ashamed.
Well, there's a sister here who is so proud of her melanin to be Black. I love being Black. Blackity black all the time. Right, let's see what we've got here. Brother Kwame says, our ancestors, we have to thank them for showing us the way. Curtis is in the house. God bless you both, and thank you both for a great show. Good to see you, Dr. Winters. Brother Curtis, you're on mute. Kwame says, Brother Winters, you are so knowledgeable. And Curtis says, yeah, good to see you, Dr. Winters. God bless you both, and thanks for another great show. Brother Kwame is in the house. Kwame also, he says, great, are present day African Americans original to America, KKK, America. Some of your messages have been retracted. Sister Kev, nothing to do with me. I think it's the settings here. Dr. Clyde, you're on mute. You're on mute there, Dr. Clyde. And Sister Kev is asking if you could post your contact information. Yes, tell everybody about your channel. Tell everybody when you go live.
You can go to YouTube. Go to YouTube and look under Clyde Winters Afrocentric History. And I have over 400 videos there on all aspects of Black history. Check it out. Then you can go there and learn the various aspects of history. Share the videos with your friends. Leave comments, positive comments, hopefully, and things like that. But you know, and you can you know, sometimes I'm on Twitter, but not too often. You know, I used to have I used to have a few shorts out, but then Yoshimati, he went mad or something. So I don't know. So, but again, in a sense, it's just sad.
Big up to Yoshi, wherever you are, Yoshi. You're doing an amazing job. We look forward to your return.
We love him. We love him, but he's you know, he just, you know, sometimes we get setbacks. Sometimes we start to feel we're all alone, and that makes us give up.
Oh, don't give up. Don't give up, Yoshi. Great works. You do some amazing work, I must say. Very talented young brother. Yes, Betty, a lot of people are just in denial. But remember, Dr. Clive, you've been asked to post your contact information if you can.
My contact, you know, Olmec 98 2000 at yahoo.com. That's how you can contact me. Olmec, little o, LMEC 2000 at yahoo.com. That's my email address. You can check me out, and if send me a line if you wish.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay. Black is black. We love that, Dr. Clyde, by the way. We got that from you. Blackety black, black, black. We love being black, black, blackety black, black.
Black is black, black is black, black.
We love that. Right, yes, he's unmuted now. Baba Winters, what's the population of Africans in Accra, Ghana, with Africans in Atlanta? Oh, GA.
I don't know. I don't know, but it would probably be more African in Accra than in Atlanta, because they got the shanty towns in Accra, and they got the main city and stuff. Atlanta's kind of getting Atlanta's an interesting place now because Atlanta, you got a lot of Haitians, You got a few people from other Caribbean states like Jamaica. You got a few Africans from Nigeria and South Africa. So a lot of people are trying to make Atlanta a center of
Black
of Black
excellence.
people, but they're not doing nothing down there. They're not doing no research. They're not writing. They're not doing any real videos about Black history. They're just out there being debauchery and stuff like that, maybe. But Atlanta is the place today. But again, in a sense, is that we need people who want to know our history. We need people that want to, help us out. We need people in the sense that they want to help me do research, help Sister Shanice do research.
Wouldn't it be awesome if we managed to get, some financial backing to do our research, to write our books like they do, Yeah, they get scholarships, grants, they get the works when they're going to do research. But we have
what
to
we've
do
done.
our research alongside everything else that we've got to do.
Yeah, but look at what we've done with no money. Just think if we had the money, what we could do.
Imagine.
Right.
And family, if you don't know, Dr. Clyde has written over 50 books, and you can support us. Yeah, you may not be able to, give us a scholarship or give us a grant to finance our research for 1 to 5 years or something, but you can certainly support us by buying one of our books. Dr. Clyde has written over 50 books, so you've got 50 books to choose from. I've only done
Sister Shanice has written, I think, what, 5 or 6?
Six books.
Yeah, she's written. Sister Shanice has written 6 books. Buy the books, because see that when you buy the book, you're not only letting us know that you're interested in research, but you're letting us know that you want us to continue to do the research. Because no matter what people say, it takes money. It takes money. We just luck up and do the research based upon our own investment. But it takes a lot of our money to do the research. So just imagine if we could find a sugar daddy or a sugar mama to really give us the cash. And what makes me feel really sad is that it's millionaire Black people over here in America, and none of them support a Black think tank.
It's such a shame.
It is, because they got all that money, and but they don't love themselves. They like to kiss white ass,
Oh, it's such a shame. Just imagine, with some financing, to blow up the whole Olmec civilization writing system and their, form of greatness. Just imagine being able to develop all of that knowledge in such a way that it could be turned into workbooks for children at schools, storybooks.
Traveling exhibits.
Yeah,
we could have traveling exhibits. We could go to different cities, towns, and really let people see the great history, And it's just that it's just so sad. It's just so sad. And I think the biggest thing that I really hate is the history of Black Britons. That's something that really people should know more about, because the history of Black Britons is amazing. But but they wrote all these books. They wrote all these books in the 1800s, and they never thought that slaves was going to ever read them, but we read them.
That's right. They never thought that we would ever read them. Yeah. And there were the scientists as well, weren't they, who were rewriting our history, and they never thought that we would realize that you know, there was a history prior to our enslavement and that we would go and find it. So yes, indeed. By the way, family in the house, if you haven't already done so, please give us a thumbs up. Please give us a like. That would be much appreciated. And as we've said, you know, please do support the works in any way that you can. You might want to support us by buying a book, but if you can't buy a book, the least you can do is to share our videos to your family members and friends. Share this video, go to Dr. Clyde Winters' YouTube channel, watch his videos, share his videos, like his videos, family. It's really hard work because we're working against the algorithms. We're working against YouTube because they are shadow banning, you know, our platforms. Tell me, how could I be sitting on just under 15,000 for about 6 years? Really? Yeah, they just stopped. So it's COVID. They just stopped adding on my subscribers and my views, and they're doing the same thing to Dr. Clyde's channel as well. So we're being shadow banned, which means that, you know, we have to work 50 times as hard just to get 1 view and 1 subscriber. But hey, we're pressing on regardless. It's intended, you know, to demoralize us, deflate us, and to stop us from doing the works. But we're carrying on regardless. Why? Because we believe in what we're doing. And this is a legacy that we're going to be leaving behind for you, our community, for our children and our children's children. Because Dr. Clive just spoke about, you know, those books that were written in the early 18th and 19th centuries. And we're reading those books today. And so, Dr. Clyde, I don't think there could be anything more satisfying than knowing that in 200 years' time, our future generations will be reading our books. Do you imagine? Yeah. And they'll be looking at your face as an Olmec head. And they'll be like, look at this likeness. Yeah. This man, you know, is a reincarnation of an Olmec. That's why he can decipher and read the writing, you know, so well. That's why, you know, he could interpret the names of all of those kings from the writing on the back of their helmet. That's why, you know, he understood the Olmecs so well, because you know, it is a unique gift, a unique spiritual connection that you've got there, Dr. Winters, definitely. Let me go back to the chat. Any questions for Dr. Winters? Repatriation says, do you know the difference between racism in the UK, US, and EU? Okay, my battery's running low. Have you felt the difference? Dr. Winters, have you been to anywhere in Europe or the UK? Have you experienced?
No, I've never been in Europe or the UK. Okay. But I imagine in a sense is that you don't have really large Black communities in Britain like you used to.
Not like
and so then that means in a sense that you're a minority, so you're always fighting. You know, when I talk to some of the Black researchers today that grew up in Britain in the 60s and 50s, they talk about the fights they used to have with the whites. Whereas, you know, we had complete towns that were all Black. You know, we had a South Side Chicago. You got 2 million Black people. That's in Chicago. I mean, you know, y'all don't have that type of statistics over there. You know, and so then that's one of the reasons why they had to decide they can't kill us off. You know, because they want to keep us. You know, they talk about 14% of the population. It's over about 100 million Black people in America. You know, and but the thing is, and you got to look at this over here. You got Spanish. They say the Spanish is outnumbering the Blacks and the Europeans, and the Europeans have always been a small population. But again, many people think America's a white man country. America's a country that's dominated by whites, but America's a country with all type of people. You know.
Family, keep the comments coming. We got Augustus in the house greeting us from New York. He says, visiting the Olmec heads in Mexico has always been on my bucket list. Yeah, you know, wow. It's a trip I think that we all ought to try and do in our lifetime. Go and look face to face into the eyes of our ancestors. Wow. Brother Kwame Boje says, I won't give up the fight. Good on you, beloved. Rise up, Sister Lillian. Good to see that you're in the house. Hidden in the shadow, she said, amazing. Thank you so, so much. Yeah, please, family, support. Buy a copy of the book, read it, and share the knowledge with your children and children's children. Wow, we've been on an incredible journey, family. If you missed the session that we did, the previous episodes, then do go and check them out on this channel. Okay, today we had just had a presentation by Dr. Clyde Winters about the Olmec heads and their ancient civilization, and in particular, their writing scripts, which Dr. Winters is able to decipher. Woo, woo, woo. That is just amazing to be able to decipher. And not only can he decipher the Olmec script, but yeah, you said you can read Sumerian, Mandinka,
Minoan, Meroitic.
Minoan.
Meroitic.
Wow. And that family of writing system, those scripts, absolutely amazing. Yeah, phenomenal.
Family, you guys are just wait. As soon as they find out that I'm dead, they'll admit all that I could read. But only one of them would take each one. They'll say they can read Meroitic based on the research of Dr. Winters. They'll mention my name real quick, and then they'll take all the credit for the Sumerian, the Olmec. They're just waiting, but see, I keep living too long, so they can't substitute me. And hopefully,
let them wait.
Hopefully, when they do try to substitute me, and there'll be some people around you family that'll be able to say, no, that's Dr. Winters.
Yeah,
that was
we were the originators. Yeah. Just like Our Lady who passed recently, who invented the GPS, Gladys, what's her name? Gladys.
I don't know it.
It was Gladys, and she invented the GPS, and she's only recently, much later in life, did she start getting the credit and recognition for her great achievement. But there are many of our ancestors who have invented and achieved greatness because it's in our DNA. Welcome, Stephen. Thank you so much. He says, a great show. Dorival is in the house. Rise up, rise up. Dorival is advising that there are 800 million white population and 587 million who live in Europe and Russia. That only leaves 200 million between Canada, USA, and South America. So I think that's the entire white population is 800 million. And of the 800 million, 587 million live in Europe and Russia. So that only leaves 200 million between Canada, USA, and South America. Yeah, so they are indeed a very small minority. But because they control the media, you see, they can push their propaganda out there to give us a very different impression of the way things actually, from the way things actually are. And as you said in the show earlier by Carter G. Woodson, control a man's thinking, and you don't have to worry about what he does. Yeah. Yeah, so Dr. Winters, let me allow you to come back. Oh, Augustine says, Dr. Clyde Winters is amazing. What a great presentation. Thank you. Thank you, Augustus. And Betty's saying the truth will live forever, no matter how they lie. Ashe, ashe. It just makes it just so much more difficult, though, for our futures to be able to find, the evidence of this greatness, because they are on a path to destruction. I think, one of the future sessions I'll, continue to do a bit of a journey on the extent to which they are destroying our monuments. And, if we're not documenting, photographing, and uploading the pictures of the true images of these great ones, then
Yeah.
As they're doing now in Egypt, they'll be presenting all of our ancestors as white. Oh dear.
Mm.
We've got
They
our
didn't.
work
They
cut
didn't have
out.
to. They didn't have to. They didn't have to tear down Asantehene. They didn't have to tear down Benin, but they tore them up. They burned them down just so they could, destroy any beautiful cities that we created. They
Yeah,
didn't want you to know that we lived in 2-story houses,
yeah,
3-story houses, that we
yeah,
lived in stone houses. They want you to always see us in a hut. It's
yeah.
a hut made of dung. See, so they could say, "See, you stinky."
Yeah,
But again, in the sense is that that's why we have to do this. But it's a fight. It's a fight. But it's a fight that we can win if
yeah,
we encourage our children and
yeah,
encourage others to keep the fight going and be supportive of it.
yeah. We are winners and we will indeed win. Thank you to everybody. Yeah, for all your wonderful comments and support. Please do support the works of Dr. Clyde Winters. He's got over 50 books. Go check out the books. They're available on Amazon. My latest book is on Amazon and the other books are as well, except the one on Marcus Messiah Garvey. You'll find that on my Gumroad account, and you can get that one absolutely free. Dr. Clyde Winters, thank you so, so much. Please do share with us some closing remarks and, promise that you're coming back to us next strong. We're going to be we're going to be going into Iran, aren't we?
Yeah, next week, we're going to talk about the Sumerians and the Middle Eastern blacks. But
Yeah.
again, the most important thing to understand, family, is that you are. When Jesse Jackson said you are somebody, you are somebody.
Yes.
The only problem is that we've forgotten our links with our past. And then because we've forgotten our links with our past, we don't see a future. But there is a great future of us, and we have, in a sense. I mean, we're making outstanding things now. It's things now that are being done. It's things now that are being done by Black people and all over the world, and they're not bringing them up. They're not letting people know. But see, there's inventions we're making. There's great stuff that we're doing in Britain and doing in America. But again, in a sense, they're not going to let you know because they want you to believe that you had to wait for them to lead us. No, we don't need them to put a hand out to pick us up. No, we can pick ourselves up, but we have to love each other. And sadly, there's some people still don't love each other, even though the world culture is a Black culture, the way they dance, the way they dress. There's still many Black people who have an inferiority complex that feel there's nothing they can do except wait for the European to pick them up. He's not picking you up, baby. He's not going to pick you up. I hate to say that.
So be proud. Be Black and proud.
Right.
Okay, so family, what a journey that we've been on. This is episode 7. We crossed over to the Americas, and we are there with those ancestors who left those incredible monuments in the Americas as proof and as evidence that we were there and that we had the capability to do something like this. So let's not underestimate the science, the mathematics, the engineering skills, the artistic skills, the sculptural skills, and everything else that must have gone into creating these massive, huge monuments that are thousands of years old. Dr. Clyde Winters, we thank you so, so much for being such a great, great scholar and for putting in the years to learn and study how to decipher Sumerian, Olmec, Manding, and Maya texts.
I've written a book out there that can help anybody who wants to learn how to decipher these languages. Go to Amazon.com and look up my book on deciphering ancient languages if you want to do the same work.
There you go. Dr. Clyde's already done it for you. So just get his book and he'll reveal to you all that you need to know. And once you've done that, if you've got any questions, you can go to his channel, post your questions, and he'll be glad to answer. Wow. So family, join us next Wednesday, same time, as we go into Iran, which is, you know, in the headlines almost every day now for obvious reasons. Yeah, someone says, Debuff says, say it aloud. I think that's when I said, I'm black and I'm proud. Say it aloud. I'm black and I'm proud. Yeah. Big up to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Clyde, once again, thank you so much. Stay well, stay strong. We love you. We appreciate love you so much. And, you know, we celebrate you for the great works and your enormous contribution to the world and to the field of Black history. Thank you so much. You know, I'm very aware of the sacrifice that's gone into that. Huge amounts of sacrifices of your time, but it certainly won't be in vain and is not in vain. Yeah, so we'll miss you until next Wednesday. We'll see you next strong. Family, join us next Wednesday, same time, same place, same space. Dr. Clyde's going to be back again. Yay! Take care, Dr. Clyde.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Sista Shanice, out of here for now. Bye for now.